The Walking Dead is back. And thank God, because boy did I enjoy this first episode. Now we're in Season 5, Episode 1, entitled No Sanctuary. What a perfect title for an episode. It starts with a prologue where we see Then, this group who are locked in a similar train cart as where we saw Rick and our group left off last season. And you see them talking about how they can't trust people, how they're locked in there. And one of the guys, I instantly thought, hey, that looks like one of the main guys from Terminus. But then we cut to present day, and I didn't really think too much about it. We see Rick, Daryl, Bob, and Glenn, along with a bunch of other people who I guess they've kidnapped. And they have them tied up and bent over this almost sink. And they're bashing each and every one of them in the back of the head with a bat. And then cutting their throats. And that was hard to watch. Especially once they got to Glenn. And I just kind of cringed. And I really didn't want to see Glenn die. But then a bomb goes off. And I thought to myself, it's Carol and Tyrese. It has to be. But of course, you cut the credits. And then when we come back, we see Carol and Tyrese walking with the baby. And I thought to myself, oh, okay, maybe it's not them. And they're talking. And when the walker comes up, Tyrese just sort of chickens out, takes the baby and says, oh, you do it. I can't do it. And I'm sitting there like, Tyrese, you big motherfucker. You're trying to tell me you're too upset to kill a walker? Really? I get it. Your girlfriend died. You've gone through some shit. I'm not denying that. But man, you need to man the fuck up. Especially later on when they hear the gunfire and that herd of walkers come by. Which, when you see how many walkers there are, you kind of go like, fuck. How much of the world is dead by this point? Or is there anyone else still alive? Well, by the end of the episode, you do find out that there is. But then, when they find the guy who's clearly with Terminus, I guess he just has his own cabin station far out. They grab him, they tie him up, and Carol has to be the one. She has to be the badass to go out and say, I'm going to check out what was going on. So Tyrese stays there with the guy. And this actor I've recognized before. He was in an episode, maybe 2, of True Blood back in like season 2. So it was cool that I recognized him. But then I even liked him, some of the stuff he was saying. He was kind of a dick, sure, but he was a good actor. And the stuff he was saying to Tyrese about he's a nice guy, but he's basically too nice of a guy. He's going to be the reason why this baby gets killed and he'll get killed. And as fucked up as it was for him to say that, and as much as I didn't like him saying that, he wasn't too far off. Tyrese was being too much of a softie. And the way how he got out and grabbed Judith, I just was like, don't you fucking kill this baby now. And he told Tyrese to get out of the cabin. And when Tyrese left, I said, really? He's just going to leave? But he made up for it. He more than made up for it when he killed all of the walkers by himself somehow. He became a badass in 2 seconds. And then he beat the shit out of the guy. I guess he killed him with his bare hand. So, alright, Tyrese. You had a soft moment, but you quickly came back around. Now, we see Carol put some zombie guts on her, which I love that that's become the way to blend in with walkers, and this is almost your disguise. And Carol going in there, and we see her set up the bomb. So it was her, just like I predicted. And that's when it's mayhem. All of the walkers storm through the cage. They go into Terminus, and it's just mayhem. It's people getting killed left and right. It's gunfire going off. This had to have gone on for, I want to say, 20, 25 minutes, if not more. It was just action upon action, and I loved it. A friend of mine earlier today asked me, he said, do you think this episode's going to have a lot of action? He said, probably not, because it'll probably just be a lot of setup of what's to come, and they'll hold off on the action. I said no, I think they're going to go all out because it is the beginning. And man, I was glad I was right because they did not hold back with this episode. They had so much zombie kills. You saw a lot of people getting ripped apart, torn to shreds. I loved it. I loved the gore. I loved the practical effects. And I loved Rick being as ruthless as he was. The way how he killed those two guys who were about to kill them. And they made their way out. And how he said, basically he said, if you're not with us, you're going to die. You kill every last one of these Terminus fucks because they don't deserve to live. And as ruthless as he sounds, as almost evil as he sounds in a way, you could tell by the way Glenn was looking at him, where Glenn was like, I'm not liking how inhuman Rick is sounding. But I get it. I get where people have driven Rick to the point. Look at those guys who almost raped his son last season. And Rick had to rip the guy's throat out with his mouth. Yeah, clearly Rick is at that point where it's no emotion. It's either you do or you're dead. And I got it. I loved how even with the Terminus guy shooting at the walkers, Rick shot all of them. And even a couple of them he left alive to get eaten. Pretty brutal stuff. And by the time they get out, Rick's talking about going back in there to make sure they're all dead, which even I went, okay, I get killing them to get your way out, but by this point, it might be a little bit overkill. Then Carol shows up, and first Daryl embraces her. Of course, they're close. But when Rick embraced her too, I was happy about that. I was glad that he didn't hold any resentment towards her or anything like that. And I was also glad that she didn't waste time to bring them to Judith. The great reunion that we've been waiting for so long. I love that we got it in the very first episode. And I also liked that Rick, right before they left, he crossed off the Terminus sign and wrote "No Sanctuary," a warning to anyone who might be going there as well. So at least he's not too over the edge to do something like that. And as they were walking off, that's when I noticed how much bigger the group is now. The group has grown in size, and it's almost like because last season they were all separate, I haven't realized how many of them there are. And then we get a quick epilogue of that group from the past who was locked up in the train car. That was at least some of the people at Terminus, and they were being raped and just sort of tortured by these people. I kind of figured that, and sure, there's a part of me that might feel a little bad because they clearly went through some shit, and you understand why they have their trust issues and whatnot. But still, no matter what, I can't condone what they were doing. They were taking, for the most part, innocent people. Sure, they can't trust people that show up, but still, you're posing as a sanctuary, and what if innocent people show up? You're just going to kill them and eat them. The fact that you're eating people alive, or not alive, but they're still eating people, is sick to me. I don't know. I don't think we're done with these Terminus people. I think we will get more with them. But the very last shot that we saw was this guy who saw Rick's sign, and he was all covered up too. He looked kind of cool because he was covered up. He had a mask and goggles, and I just was thinking, who is this guy? Takes the mask off. It's Morgan! Morgan was in the very first episode of Season 1. Him and his son helped Rick, and then we didn't see him again until Season 3. We found out that his son died because he wasn't strong enough to kill his wife that had turned. So the fact that not only has he been around for this long, but the fact that they showed him makes me think, is he going to be a part of this season? Like a mainstay? Because if so, that's fucking awesome. What more can I say about this first episode? But it started with a bang. I loved everything about this episode. I felt like it moved so fast. For anyone who thought they were going to drag on this whole Terminus thing and them being locked up, no. It was all over and done with by the end of the first episode, and I loved it. I cannot wait to see what they have in store for the rest of the season. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below if you too saw this episode. Did you love it as much as I did? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!